Hello, my name is Dominic Brockway, and I'm going to talk to you about outcome-based education, which is synonymous with the product curriculum. The origins of outcome-based education are from Ralph Tyler's curriculum theory. Established in 1949, there were four planning principles. One, what educational purposes should the school seek to attain? Two, what educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes? Three, how can these educational experiences be effectively organised? And four, how can we determine whether these purposes are being attained? Now, you may have heard of Bloom's taxonomy, but if not, now you're going to find out about it. Under the influence of Ralph Tyler, Benjamin Bloom constructed his taxonomy in 1956, and it was revised in 2001. Now, his taxonomy had six different levels. The lowest level of learning is the recall of facts and basic concepts, where you're remembering information. After that, it's to understand information, and there you would get learners to explain ideas or concepts. The next layer is to apply information in new situations. After that, the next layer is analyze, so learners would draw connections among ideas. The next layer is to evaluate, where learners would justify a stand or decision. And the highest level is to create, produce new original work. Now, it's interesting that in Bloom's earlier version of the taxonomy, the create synthesis layer is actually below evaluation. So there is a increased emphasis placed on the importance of creation in learning in this revised version of the taxonomy. Now, how this would work in terms of your curriculum planning when you're investigating and thinking about your curriculum is that these different layers of the taxonomy, which are incremental, you'd want to see these different layers throughout the curriculum at both course level and during lessons. So let's have a look. First of all, if you look at the verbs underneath each of these different layers. So, for example, for remember, you would write an example of a lesson objective that you would write would be using the verbs define, duplicate, list, memorize, repeat, state. And then for understanding, you would ask learners to describe, because if, for example, you ask a learner to list something, they don't necessarily have to understand it. But if you ask them to explain the elements that are in a list, then it's one level higher. Let's look at this, how this works in action. This is an example course level assessment objective from a sports syllabus, AS level. Now, you'll see that there are four learning objectives, assessment objectives, and they are different layers of Bloom's taxonomy. We've got analysis there, we've got application there. Now, these assessment outcomes are constructively aligned in the curriculum, but in terms of your individual lesson planning, you would need to also break these course level objectives down so that your scheme of work contained reference to these, was actually aligned with this syllabus, and your individual lesson plans also used these measurable objectives. This is an example of some lesson objectives for a lesson that could be for that sports course. List 4 factors that underpin performance in sports. That's the remember layer, layer 1 of Bloom's taxonomy. Apply one type of self-management technique within a class. That is layer 3 of Bloom's taxonomy. And then we've got layer 4, discuss and analyse 2 factors that underpin class performance. And we have layer 5, writing an evaluation of different factors that underpin class performance. So this could be a 3-hour lesson where learners do all of these things. Now, if you actually have a look back at the taxonomy, you will see that these are all different verbs which could easily fit within that lesson plan that I showed you. So all that's left now is for you to have a go at using these verbs and having a try at constructing a lesson plan. Thank you.